Hey everybody, Delusion Dispeller here, and I'm talking about the one insidious addiction, people addiction, based on this book, How to Break Your Addiction to a Person by Howard M. Hill Pern. Copyright 1995. Today, we are on part 8, I believe. This is about staying hooked. So once you're in the relationship, how do you stay hooked into it? What makes you stay, basically? And everybody wants to know this. Why did you stay with him? How could you stay with her? What were you thinking? Do you have like a death wish? Do you have a, masochistic urge to just stay in these types of things that make you so miserable? Let's talk about that. So there's different techniques of control, actually. Um, you actually, as the victim, believe it or not, have some means of controlling the relationship so that you can stay in it. And how do you do this? Now, no, I'm not victim shaming here. And in fact, I will be skipping over probably a big chunk of this because it does feel like victim shaming to me. So I will not be going over that part. So I'm skipping around a little bit in this chapter. Control through power, weakness, servitude, guilt, and jealousy. So we're going to talk today about the first part, controlling through power. What's this look like? Have you ever said, you need to do what I want you to do, or else I'm leaving? I can't put up with this anymore. It is played out by a person that believes that the partner needs them more than they need the partner. Yes, I've been guilty of this, definitely a couple different times at least, of saying, if you don't do this right, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm out of here, or you're out of here. In the case of Matthew, he would be out of here because I own the house. So yes, you guys have heard me say that. Um, and it was a method of control to stay in the relationship because this relationship for me and for him is a good thing. We are a good partner. Some of you have called us or a good couple. I mean, some of you have called us the power couple. And when we are flying together instead of fighting each other, we are a very powerful force to defeat the works of darkness known as evildoers in the world, evildoers on YouTube, and we protect each other. And we can truly say, you and me against the world, baby. But when you're against each other, then that's a whole different ball game. And if it gets to the point where you're always against each other or mostly against each other, then maybe it's time to make a different decision and go your separate ways. But in my case, yes, I did give kind of that ultimatum of you need to do it this way or else. And it wasn't so much my way, but a way that was beneficial. And he's done the same to me in order to stay in the relationship. You need to do your part. You can't always act like you're perfect, honey. He used to say to me all the time. You need to realize that you're hurting me just like you think I'm neglecting and hurting you. So, in this case, it was a healthy staying in the relationship because we both went for counseling and we've really never stopped counseling. We've started counseling. I was in counseling when he met me. And then we both started with our individual counselors and then some counselors together throughout our marriage. That's why we still have a marriage. I sincerely believe that. Um, but yes, that is sometimes what happens even in unhealthy relationships that really ought to dissolve. The person that wants to stay in it will give the other person this ultimatum of you either do what I tell you to do things my way, please me, or else hit the road, buddy, or you'll find your bags packed and you'll be out the door, or I will leave. Either way. So it can be in a healthy and an unhealthy relationship. In this case, we're talking about unhealthy attachments where you're trying to get the person not to leave you, but you also want them to change for you, or you're going to leave. So either way. But this time we're talking about unhealthy attachments. Okay. And interestingly enough, the people looking from the outside in feel like you, the power person, doesn't really care for the partner that they're giving this, ultimatum to. They feel like, well, they're just trying to be control freaks. they don't really love that person. They're just trying to make them do their bidding. When really it's not that way at all. It's that they want the person not to leave them because they have this insecurity without them. So that's why I always say be careful when you're looking from the outside in that you're really seeing what you think you're seeing. Don't make assumptions. It's bad. Okay. So here's a story about somebody that went to a movie with her boyfriend, and she didn't like the context of the movie and the content of the movie, and she said, "You can't have liked that movie. Oh my gosh, that was deplorable. That was tasteless, and you're tasteless." Well, that made him angry, and she came on very strongly. And the thing was, what she was saying is if he really liked that movie, then that says that he has a right and an ability to choose for himself apart from what I think is best. Well, she came to realize after talking to somebody that she needed to accept the fact that she had a problem with somebody thinking differently and having different feelings and viewpoints and preferences than what she had. And she had to decide, was she staying with that person in order to change them so that she was more comfortable? Or was this really like a deal breaker? Like, gosh, I can't believe he likes that kind of stuff. I'm not staying with him. Just like my husband. I always bring it back to him because that's my reality right now. He likes certain things I don't like. He likes certain video games I don't like. He likes certain movies I don't like. And I think that they're tasteless movies, a lot of them. But I don't think that he's tasteless for watching them. I just don't understand how he can. This girl eventually realized that she was reacting from an attachment hunger, feeling like, I guess, if he's separate, if he has this ability to choose other things apart from what I would want him to choose, then that means he could leave me. Because if he can think for himself and do things separately from me, that means he can go off and be independent of me. And that's really what she was reacting to, was this fear that he was going to leave her. This came from her situation with her mother in the past, that if she didn't do everything the way that her mother wanted her to, that she got rejected by her mother. She was trying to avoid the terror of being separated by trying to control. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to actually read this next part. Might there be a connection between your dominating and your wish to end it? Can you really know, admire, respect, and bring out the best in someone you are intimidating? Can you help but have some contempt for someone who permits you to do it? And if you do not really respect your partner, can you sustain loving feelings towards him or her? These are important questions. Let's go over these, okay? Might there be a connection between your dominating and your wish to end it? So, is there a connection, like we just explained there was, to your wanting to control this other person and you're also wanting to end things? So are you holding on to somebody just because you are fearing that feeling of them leaving or of it ending? Or is there something else going on here? Can you really know, respect, admire, and bring out the best in someone you're intimidating? Can you really know and love and admire someone that you're trying to control and manipulate and dominate and intimidate? That's something to think about. Can you help but have some contempt for someone who permits you to do it? Do you look down on your partner because they're letting you be the control freak over them? Do you look at them like, man, they must really be a wimp if they're letting me control them this much? And if you don't really respect your partner, can you sustain loving feelings towards him or her? I don't believe you can. If you don't respect someone, at least at the level of, I love this person, I realize they're different than I am, they have different interests and stuff than I do, then you really don't belong with them, in my opinion. What deep needs from attachment hunger level might you be concealing or hiding under your tendency to hold the upper hand? If you must control him, does that indicate that you might be afraid of his being independent of you? I already touched on that. Beneath the domineering, are you afraid of being vulnerable or being weak? of revealing your dependency, of being known? And above all, are you afraid of being left? So are you afraid? These are good questions too. Are you afraid of being vulnerable? Are you afraid of being weak? How about showing that you're dependent on this person? You don't want anybody to know, whoa, I really need this person in my life. Of being known. Are you afraid that they're going to see through your BS of who you really are, the insecure person that needs to control and dominate? And above all, are you afraid of being left? Are you afraid that if you don't control everything, it's all going to fall apart? They're going to leave you. Are you feeling so guilty about dominating your partner, you feel too responsible for him to dare to leave him? That's an interesting question. What do you think would happen if you gave up your power position? Is it worth trying to see what would happen before you take the step of leaving the relationship? So they're kind of going back and forth. Are you holding on to this person because you don't want them to leave? Are you trying to make them do everything you want because you're trying to hold on to them, or because you want to justify your rejecting them? You know, it's kind of a confusing chapter. I realize that. I sort of know what they're getting at. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying, because I'm reading a lot of it very verbatim from the book. They're basically saying, hey, are you holding on to something that shouldn't be held on to? Or are you trying to subtly push something away and justify as you push it away? Only you can decide this. Perhaps it would be helpful to explore whether the problem is not just the other person's need to dominate, but the way you've been responding to it. So if somebody's dominating you, because that can happen too. So now we're flipping the thing onto the other side. What if you're the one being dominated? Now you got to look and see, is it just their need to dominate? Or is it the way that you're responding to it? Have you put them in their place in a gentle, kind manner? Have you been submitting to domination? Because you could be feeling suffocated, depressed, outraged, and then basically putting yourself down, neglecting yourself. You might feel, hang on, you may feel like the only solution is to end everything. If you've been competing with your partner for control, then you might be worn out and bitter and angry, and you're going to have a lot of very bad rivalry between you. So there's all kinds of things that go on in relationships, and these are all things to look at. Where is your relationship at? If you look deeply, you might see that your response might be a way of staying connected to fulfill your own attachment hunger. But are you staying attached to somebody that is very controlling of you in an unhealthy way? Or are you staying attached through controlling the person in an unhealthy way just so you can say you have somebody? So, is it worth the risk of learning how to relate to each other in different ways or not? And is it something that they're willing to do too? Because it can't be a one-sided thing in a relationship. Relating requires at least two people, and each person has to do their own part. Now, we talked about that. We're going to talk about weakness next time, controlling through weakness. But in order to make changes with somebody that's controlling, or in yourself if you're controlling, you need to ask yourself, am I staying here and keeping this relationship up because I'm scared? Is it something that I need to break off? Am I experiencing a hunger attachment like an infant trying to not let go of mom's, that oneness with mom? Or that bottle that mom feeds me? Am I back in that infantile state of holding on to somebody that could be even physically dangerous? Maybe they're threatening you. Maybe they're saying, if you try to leave me, I'm going to hurt you. Or I'm going to hurt the kids. Or I'm going to hurt your pet. Or I'm going to kill you. You hear these things all the time. We all know about Chris Watts. We know about news stories. And now there's another family where the father killed the mother and the kids. You might need help. You might need to involve the law. You might need to involve a therapist. Always, always, always do whatever you're going to do, whatever choice you're going to make. And I'm saying this so sincerely. Make sure you're doing it in a safe way. If somebody is explosive and you know that if you tell them you're leaving, they're going to blow up, don't tell them. Have a plan B alert your friends, have a car waiting for you, whatever you need to do to get out safely. And make sure you call the police before you do it so they can be on the lookout for this person, this guy or this gal that might flip. So we talked about how you can control or be controlled through power. We're going to leave it there for now. It's just some food for thought to think about why you really are staying in this relationship. Are you the power person? Are you the control person? Or are you being controlled? Next time, we're going to talk about control through weakness. So I hope to see you on the next video. God bless, and we'll see you soon.